Now, George, what I'm wondering is, why would you go with a tungsten point over stainless steel or even vice versa? But what makes a tungsten point better than a stainless steel point?
Well, obviously the tungsten point costs a lot more. So people ask that question all the time. Why do I want a tungsten point versus a steel point? A couple of considerations. One, when we developed the tungsten point back in 1992, Easton was the first company in the world to use tungsten in an arrow point. We designed it to work better in tough European target butts, things like Stramit and Edgerton targets, which were at the time the standard. As more and more people started being able to get access to foam targets, some of that advantage kind of went away. But there's one advantage that a lot of top shooters appreciate about the tungsten point versus the steel point. You do get a slightly larger amount of front of center balance using the tungsten point because it concentrates the mass just a little further out than you do with the steel point. And the difference is the length.
Front of center balance too, that's going to equal accuracy at the, at the end, at the target.
Yeah, to a degree, but the reality is that front of center balance does not come for free. Normally, you've got to add mass weight to get more front of center balance. But these 2 points weigh the same. This one actually generates an extra 1.5% to 2% of FOC for the same mass weight. So from a performance standpoint, you're getting away with a little bit of an extra advantage. Now, is that much? Is that a lot? Is that enough to make the difference? If it makes the difference, it is worth it. If you were to create a test that would evaluate the difference between these two parts, it would require a lot of data to show a clear difference in outdoor conditions. But the reality is that a lot of shooters just prefer the tungsten point because it's also easier to install.
Okay. Does it have any differences on how that spine deflects when it's being released on that power stroke from the arrow?
Yeah, it has a small difference. As we showed with our static spine tester, it has even more of a difference on a dynamic spine situation, like being shot with fingers.
And that's like with the archer's paradox. Once that arrow is released, that weight's pushing back against the string's pushing forward, you get that bend around the riser, around the plunger.
Yeah, and it's not so complicated. It's a simple reason. You can see that these 2 points, which weigh the same amount, that tungsten point has a much shorter shank. Mechanically, that difference is the same as making the arrow just a little bit weaker dynamically under load. And so with the tungsten point, obviously this is the sort of thing you can solve with 1/5 of a turn on your limb bolts, but it is something to consider. Easton's ballistic tungsten point is 2.2 times more dense than our high quality steel point. That means that the actual shank inside the shaft is shorter. This difference means that mechanically the front of the arrow will be slightly stiffened if you use the steel point. To demonstrate the effective stiffness difference between a steel point and a tungsten point, let's look at this X10, which has a steel point installed. We have it on a 15-inch span to show you the difference. With the steel point in place, the spine value is 109 thousandths. Now we'll repeat the test with our tungsten point. We'll see a slightly weaker spine value. That difference of a couple of thousandths of an inch over a 15-inch span actually translates into a larger difference over the full length of the arrow.
For more information, visit us at eastonarchery.com.